Berlin, July 9, 2006. The World Cup final. 120 minutes of football. France versus Italy. Everything level, everything on the line. And the greatest player in the world, Zinedine Zidane, was about to play the last minutes of his entire career. He was 34 years old. He had already announced his retirement. This was it, his last game, his last chance at the biggest trophy in football. And then he turned around and headbutted a man in the chest in front of 1 billion people on the biggest stage in the world. His last act in professional football. A red card. This is the story of the moment nobody saw coming. To understand what happened that night, you need to understand who Zinedine Zidane was. Born in Marseille to Algerian immigrant parents, grew up in one of the toughest neighborhoods in France, taught himself football on the streets before anyone gave him a chance. By 2006, he was widely considered the greatest footballer of his generation. 3-time FIFA World Player of the Year, Champions League winner with Real Madrid. He had already won the World Cup with France in 1998, scoring twice in the final. And in 2006, at 34 years old, he came out of international retirement for one last chance, and he was magnificent. He dragged France through the tournament almost single-handedly. When France needed him, he delivered every time. By the time the final arrived, it felt like destiny was writing itself. Zidane, one last final. One last chance to be remembered forever. The final itself was incredible. Zidane scored a cheeky Panenka penalty in the 7th minute, chipping it straight down the middle with ice in his veins. Italy equalized through Marco Materazzi, the same man, the same defender who had been following Zidane all night. The game went to extra time, 1-1, penalties looming, and then, in the 109th minute, something happened between Zidane and Materazzi that nobody on the pitch clearly saw. The two men walked together, words were exchanged, and without warning, Zidane stopped, turned, and drove his head directly into Materazzi's chest. Materazzi went down. Zidane stood there, calm, almost unbothered. The referee didn't see it, but the fourth official did. He called over the referee, showed him, and the red card came out. Zinedine Zidane, the greatest player of his generation, walked past the World Cup trophy on his way off the pitch. He never touched it. France lost on penalties. For months, the world asked one question. What did Materazzi say? Rumors spread everywhere. Newspapers claimed racist abuse about Zidane's mother. Materazzi sued multiple outlets for libel and won. Then, years later, Materazzi finally told the truth. Zidane had offered him his shirt at the end of the game. Materazzi replied, "I'd prefer your sister." That was it. Zidane himself later confirmed in an interview, "He provoked me by talking about my sister Lila. I'm not proud of it, but it's part of my career. At that time, I was more fragile. He didn't insult my mother, but he did insult my sister." 3 words about his sister. That is all it took to end the greatest career in a generation with a red card. Zidane sat in the dressing room and listened to France lose on penalties. He never went back out to the pitch. His teammates came in after, and he apologized to every single one of them. Not for the headbutt, but for not being there when they needed him most. Here is what this moment teaches us. Even the greatest people in the world have a breaking point. Even the most controlled, most disciplined, most gifted can be undone by a single sentence from the wrong person at the wrong moment. Materazzi said 3 words, and they echoed through football history forever.